Well, everyone, most of the prodigal Texas Democrats have returned.
Turning now to some Texas Democratic lawmakers who returned to the state for the first time in 2 weeks after leaving to block the Republican efforts to redraw that state's congressional districts with the hope of giving the GOP 5 more seats in the House of Representatives. By leaving the state House was unable to reach a quorum during a special session, meaning they were not able to conduct any official business. NBC News correspondent Ryan Chandler joins us now from the State House in Austin, Texas. Ryan, a bit of a deja vu moment for you here. Walk us through what happened there today, and where do things in Texas go from here?
Well, it was a real hero's welcome for the Democrats when they returned for the first time in more than 2 weeks. Business is back in the Texas House with dozens of Democrats back on the floor. They walked into the House right behind me to chants and cheers from staff and supporters who have really been pleased with how they were able to stall these maps. They did get a dose of reality, though, once they were on the House floor. More punishments and ways to keep them here in Austin. The Speaker assigning a personal state trooper to each Democrat to make sure that they don't flee the state again. Democrats not pleased with that at all. They say that they are not free to move while they are here in Austin. I talked with one Democrat, though, out of North Texas about what the strategy is now. She says that they are going to take these fights from the House floor into the courts.
Our election experts told us we have to go back and we have to take the fight to the House floor for the legal case. This is going to land in the courts, and we're going to make a very strong case that these are racially gerrymandered maps that silence the voices of communities of color. And we think that the Fifth Circuit Courts of Appeals is going to agree with us, just like they did in the Louisiana case.
So some acceptance there that these maps are going to pass. It's a challenging legal road ahead, Morgan. It's going to be expedited. It will have to be because these maps have to be in place before the March primaries.
So, Ryan, amid all this redistricting drama that's been playing out, we know there's other agenda items the State House needs to address, including, of course, that response to the deadly July 4th floods that impacted the entire Texas Hill Country. What odds does that legislation have with this new session?
Oh, that will pass. That is a bipartisan priority that has not been treated as a priority, frankly, up until now. Redistricting has taken all of the oxygen out of the room, and the quorum break did stop work on everything, including those important flood bills. But an update there, Morgan, the governor added a new flood relief item to the special session call for this month. He's asking lawmakers to look at camp safety, the kind of regulations and protocol that are in place to make camps along the Guadalupe River safer, to make sure that warning systems are in place so that a tragedy like we saw at Camp Mystic never happens again, Morgan.
Of course. Ryan, real quickly, before we let you go, you mentioned that each one of these Democratic lawmakers now has a state trooper assigned to them. I'm curious, as much as they felt like their departure from Texas was a success, to now be back and essentially have the Republicans going to be able to pass these new maps, have any of them responded to questions about that on that front? Was that all for naught?
They are claiming victory for 2 reasons. One, they were able to stop these maps for another 2 weeks. 2, they say they put pressure on California to pass that trigger bill, that retaliatory map that would add 5 Democratic seats to California to cancel out the 5 more Republican seats coming to Texas. They say that they were able to make California do that, so it's a victory in some way. At the end of the day, Morgan, everybody knew that these maps were going to pass. That's Texas math. But they were certainly successful in getting the attention of the nation on this.
No doubt. Ryan Chandler breaking it all down. Ryan, thanks so much.
You guys, this is comical. This is comical at best. So I was taking some notes. I have ADHD, so sometimes I'm going to be taking some notes. So first of all, heroes welcome. No. All this was a political stunt to scare people into thinking that the Republicans were taking over the entire country, which Democrats have been gerrymandering forever. I actually have some more statistics on that. Even though I've already given a lot in my previous videos about this very topic, I did some math to calculate these percentages and things based off of the 2024 vote. So I'll tell you those in a second. But first of all, that I did a video and that Democrat lawmaker was actually in my previous video talking about how she didn't flee her job and this is a legal process and blah, blah, blah. And it's not constitutional for them to force us to come back to the state. And we're just in protest of this and that. And it completely negated the fact that they were supposed to vote on all of this flood relief and all of these other things for Texas. Okay. Now, she said that people had to tell them that they had to come back and that there was a legal process of this. These are people that work in the legislature of Texas. These people are charged with the responsibility of creating laws. You would think that they would understand them. Okay. I'm just going to let you in on a little secret. If you haven't been watching my videos, you notice how she just said that they were advised that they needed to take this to court and now they're going to take this to court. I have news for you. They are completely covering up the fact that this has already been in the courts for a while. Okay. This has already been being challenged by the NAACP. I think multiple other groups. There's a Hispanic group and also the Hispanic group, in addition to lawsuits regarding the new congressional map, they also already had a lawsuit going regarding the current congressional map because they were detesting that map that they've already adopted years ago, 2021. They were contesting that map. So the fact that these people either didn't know that there's a legislative process or a judicial process, sorry, I mixed up my branches, a judicial process to go through in order to contest this map, if there is any legal standing in that case, that's what you do. Breaking quorum is a stunt. It is literally a stunt. The governor had the opportunity. He can call as many special sessions as he wants, and he can call them back to back, which he did. So they have realized that they can go through the judicial process now. No, they already knew that. They did all of this 100% for show. Nobody had to tell them that. Yeah, already in court. Heroes welcome. Oh, it's a hero's welcome. We're able to stop votes for 2 weeks. They said, well, it was a success because we were able to stop votes for 2 weeks. Yeah, you held up the progress of your entire legislative branch in Texas regarding like 20 different items that you were supposed to be voting on for 2 weeks, while flood victims are not getting aid from the state because of you. Because you want to throw a temper tantrum about something that literally has a judicial process to fight against. It is all for show. All of it. 100% for show. Now, I wanted to also show that I wanted to talk about this because it's kind of funny because now they have to have an escort, but they had to sign something in order to agree. They had to agree to the escort. And if they did not agree to the escort, then they cannot leave the house. So one person actually decided to stay behind. She decided that it was too demeaning to sign a pink slip, which what's they're calling it. It was too demeaning to have an escort you to and from the house and wherever else you need to go to ensure that you actually show up for what you were elected to fucking do. You were elected to do that. Okay, that's why. So if any of y'all, I don't know if I'll ever run for office. I don't know if the government can handle me, but I would be tearing shit apart. Tearing it apart. Could you imagine me in the house, on the house floor? Oh, Lord have mercy. I would be all over the news. But that's what you're agreeing to actually do this job. You were elected to do it. You didn't just get hired for a job where they can fire you and things like that because you didn't come to work. You're working for the government. So if you don't come to work, you can be arrested and brought to work unless you leave the state, making you, unless you're charged with crimes, they can't go after you in another state because you're not a fugitive. And this is not a criminal offense. It's just It's just a part of the job. Like, you are required to do what you were elected to do, and you cannot hold up the state legislature because you have opinions and you don't like what's happening. You can't do that. That's just not how it works. That's why the law gets involved in all of these things. So one of their people actually decided, I'm not signing this. I'm going to stay in the House on the floor, and I'm going to live stream my stay all night. So let's take a look at just a few seconds of this live stream just to see just the absolute display of drama just for their party. Like, their party actually eats this stuff up. We laugh at it, but they love it. They actually vote for these people because of this, because of all of these stunts. This is why they vote for these people. There's no other reason other than the fact that they love abortions and they love transitioning children. Other than that, it's all about how sassy, how rude, how much pushback is my candidate actually giving to the actual government that they're telling us that they are trying to uphold. It's just comical to us, but these people actually vote for these people because of these stunts, which is so insane. She's got her little bag there. I wonder if she brought like a change of clothes and some pajamas and a blankie, maybe a pillow. It doesn't look like she has a pillow there, but you know, she wants to make sure that she's looking distraught. Yeah, you gotta have all the dramatics. Make sure you got your toothbrush, your face wash, your makeup remover. Yep. Oh, poor you. Poor you. You didn't want to have a police escort. Oh. Well, so I guess she live streamed this all night long. So that she didn't have to sign the pink slip, and she didn't have to. Well, she just decided to stay. Kind of silly. Let's see if there's anything else exciting going on. Oh, there's Mr. Wu. I think that's his name. He was the one that was leading the whole thing. So there she is. It looks like she's making up her little spot. That's where she's going to stay for the night. Oh, poor thing. So I did a little math here, and I wanted to do a little comparison to what Texas's new map would do versus what the Democrats in certain states have already done. I didn't want to do all 50 states because who cares? I just did like the biggest ones. The new congressional map in Texas would give Democrats 21% representation, and it would give Republicans 79% representation. It would give the Democrats 8 seats, and it would give the Republicans 30 seats. Now, is that in proportion to how Texas voted in the 2024 election? No, it is not. Over 40% voted Democrat. So is this in accordance to what the perfect ideal congressional districts would be? No. But when I tell you the Democrat states that have the most impact, you're going to be like, okay, well, actually, it looks like Texas is kind of just doing exactly what they're doing, nothing more, nothing less. So Illinois, in 2024, Republicans voted 43%, voters voted 43% for Republicans. And in Illinois, with their current congressional map that's been in effect ever since 2021, the most gerrymandered map in the United States, based off of a Princeton group, I believe, they have 82% representation for their Democrats and only 17% representation for 43% of their voters, which are Republicans. So they have less than half of the representation for those voters. All right, as they do for the Democrats. So in California, 58.5% of voters voted Democrat and 38.3% of voters voted Republican. They have 52 seats. Their Democrats hold 43 and their Republicans hold 9. That gives Democrats 83% representation. and it gives Republicans 17% representation. So again, that is less than half of the percentage representation based off of the percentage of voters that voted Republican. So another 17%er, Illinois and California, 17% representation for Republicans, while in Texas, there's 21% representation for Democrats after this congressional map is approved. Now, New York isn't quite as bad, so I'll give it to them. They're not quite as bad, but they're still doing the same thing. Democrats voted, 55.9% of voters in New York voted Democrat, 43.31% voted Republican. They hold 26 seats. Democrats hold 19, Republicans hold 7. That gives voters, 43.31% of voters, only 27% representation in Congress. So they're doing the same thing. It's just not quite as bad as the other two states. And the reason for this is because their congressional map that they wanted to draw or they wanted to implement in 2021 was shut down by their Supreme Court. Their Supreme Court actually has to approve their congressional maps. And I want to say something about California in a second as well. Again. So, now Maine is a completely different story and it really doesn't matter that much because it's only 2 seats. But I thought it was worth noting that in Maine, their Democrats voted, or their voters voted 52.39% Democrat, and their voters voted 45.47% for Republicans. So it's almost half and half, but both of their seats are 100% Democrat. So there's no Republican representation for 45% of their voters. Now I want to talk about California for 5 seconds. Because Gavin Newsom introduced a new congressional map, which I'll go over in a different video. This one's already getting long enough, but they have a congressional districting map committee that the citizens actually voted on. So what he's trying to do is he's trying to temporarily dismiss that committee and give the power back to the legislature in order to draw up congressional maps and take all but 2 seats, I believe. I'll have to look again, but I'll mention it specifically in that video. They're trying to take almost all the representation away from almost 50% of their citizens in California. They've already taken a bunch of they've already got only 17% representation. Their Republicans do. So if they implement this map, what has to happen, this map is insane and should not, this is a violation of the Constitution, in my opinion. This could potentially go to the Supreme Court. I don't really know, because this seems like a violation of voter rights, 100%, because they already have 17% representation. How are you going to make that even fucking less? You're going to make that even less, Gavin Newsom? Are you serious? So what he has to do is he's already got the map. I've already looked at it. It's stupid. It's crazy. It's insane. And then what he has to do is he has to get his legislature to vote on holding a special election, to vote on temporarily dismissing their committee rules and allowing the legislature to draw the congressional maps. I hope to God that the people of California have enough sense to vote against that. I mean, they did vote for it in the first place, for the committee to do it. It is a bipartisan committee, I believe, made up of citizens, and they are to work together in a bipartisan fashion to draw up their congressional maps. So the citizens actually voted for this. So he's actually going to have a change to their amendment on their Constitution, and temporarily until 2030, I believe it was, in order to even make this happen. So it's going to be up to the people of California to vote whether or not to say screw that 40-something% of voters who only have 17% representation and just completely do. This would be like the worst gerrymandering in history. Now, luckily, New York, their Supreme Court has to approve their congressional districting. So they don't have as much power as, say, Texas or California or Illinois, because each state has different rules regarding this. But either way, that's just an example. Like, yeah, is Texas gerrymandering? Yeah, but they're literally just bringing the numbers to kind of match how much gerrymandering is happening in these other important states. To me, you want to play ball? You want to play dirty? I can play dirty too. I want to win too. So let's just do it. And if all of the Republican states did this, Democrats would probably never win again. So tell me in the comments, what do you guys think about this? Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any content. I'll see you on the next one.